Good evening, good evening, good evening. Woo. Okay. Hair is just all in the way and all over everything. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a special episode so we can get caught up on everything that we did not have time to get into last week. And that's what we're going to do. Good evening, sir. How are you this evening?
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I
We got sound. Woo. As I'm losing stuff, breaking stuff, and losing stuff. It's one of those days.
right.
So let's just, you know what? Let's jump right into it. Let's see. You know, there's always a good scandal going on the ticker talk. So we have yet another creator who has been discovered to be problematic. Now this one is in two parts, so I'll play both of the videos and then we'll talk about it.
Double up! Surprise! It's me.
Uno reverse, it's me. Did you know this guy used to make homophobic and transphobic jokes with his son?
I got one. Michelle got one.
I've got one too.
I got one. Michelle got one.
Me too.
This is my son and he's gay.
No, the hell no, I'm not.
Oh, he was also called out for selling these Let's Go Brandon shirts on his merch site. For those who don't know, Let's Go Brandon's kind of like an inside joke of Trump supporters to talk about making fun of our current president, Joe Biden. When he was called out for it, he claims to be not political at all and supports whoever is running the country, but people found on his Facebook that he was following a bunch of Republican pages like Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz. He issued an apology but took it down shortly after, and has since been deleting and removing all of his past ignorant jokes and videos.
Yeah, bet your daddy's so proud. How's little girl turned out?
Hey, the polish is starting to wear off there. It's time to get your nails done again.
I'm not proud to be an American.
Then pack your shit up and leave. Hey, that'll be my last performance for the week. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Now, from what I've been told, he's gotten popular on TikTok because he'll just stitch up somebody's video and kind of cut them off and give like some factoid.
Right.
And it's my understanding, please understand, I'm not on TikTok anymore, so I'm getting information from the people who are sending me the videos, that he recently like made it to like 1 million followers or something. And people are remembering like, hey, do you not forget that he's problematic? He's homophobic and the Uber mag hat. Go ahead, give your thoughts, because I got to take all of this in. I'm watching these videos for the first time with you, so
Right.
I'm
Like I've seen him on TikTok myself. Cause the factoid things, like where he stops, like some of them I seen, I was like, okay, funny. This I don't understand. Like, and to get your son involved, that's some craziness. Like,
and
it's
see, that's what's really getting me. The whole you're teaching your son that this is okay.
right. Like, I get it. Like, I'm all for letting people have their own, but that's how racism continues to go on in this country, as it continues to be taught. That's why hate continues to go on in this country, because it continues to get taught. Like, it goes from generation to generation. If you teach your kid to love everybody like they would love somebody that looks just like them, this world would be a lot better place. America would be a lot better place, but we continue to teach hate.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
It, and that poor child, because I've never been a man. I don't know what it's like.
it's not that great.
And I'm not a non-binary individual. I am a woman, so I'm going to speak from that perspective.
Right.
Now I remember growing up, and actually one of my sister-in-laws and I were discussing this a little bit on Saturday, how you tend to mimic the parent that shares the same gender as you. You want to be like them, and then to a certain point, when you want to break out and figure out who you are, then you try to distance yourself.
Right.
I couldn't imagine, and I would be so heartbroken if my mother acted like that and had me acting the same way, especially if we had social media when I was younger, because the internet is forever.
Right.
Because I recognize this is a child. This is a minor. He's just doing what his daddy probably wrote out the whole skit and was like, oh, this will be funny. This will get us some likes and views. But we both know how the internet works. And one day, when this child is older, somebody is going to pull that out and smack him in the face with it.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's what breaks my heart the most, because he could grow up and be a better human being than his father.
Right.
I'm just going to say father because I don't know anything about the mother and I don't want to throw her in there. Because in asking questions, the person who sent it to me, I was like, have you ever seen the mother in the videos doing this? No. So I'm not going to speculate on what she believes and what she thinks.
Right.
But I'm just like, why would you do that to your child? I know I say some outrageous stuff, but I say it on my own.
Right.
With my chest. And my kids are grown.
I continue to see it all the time. Like back in the day, me and my cousin was hanging out. It's probably like midnight, maybe 1 in the morning. You know, we're teenagers, and this little 5-6-year-old kid come running outside, and like he's running up and down the street, and we're like, we stop him. We're like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, you're too young to be out here at this time.
Mhm.
Well, he like starts cussing and all this, and you know, just one of those little bad kids. And we thought it was funny at the time, and then all of a sudden the N-word just come flying. Like, he's like, don't you touch me, you. And I was like, okay, so we know. All right, it's time for you to go. Like, please get away from us before somebody ends up getting in trouble. And like, I was just like, it reminds me of that, because like, he didn't just hear that word. He didn't just hear people saying that word one time and just picked it up. No, that's the way he was using it. Like, he knew exactly how to use it. I was like, all right, like, we know. And his mother was the only one around. I was like,
oh
so
yeah,
you
so
knew,
she's using it a
you
lot.
knew where exactly. Right.
And see, right before, I guess, see, every year they change what's considered a middle school child. 1 year's just 7th and 8th grade, 1 year 6th, 7th, and 8th. So I was in the 6th grade. I remember that. So if you
Right.
consider that middle school where you're from, then okay, middle school. There was a young lady. We got on the bus and she would say little slick comments to me, and I just pretty much ignored her. But there were a bunch of us, and we were talking about pets. And at the time, I didn't have a pet. We had just had to give away our dog because the dog just kept running away. The dog just wanted to be with the police. Okay. See, He wanted to be 12 bad. He was down bad for 12. So we just had,
Right.
we had to let her go. So I was asking different people, you know, I'm a dog lover, like, oh, does anybody else have a pet? This heifer turned around and said, yeah. And it reminds me of you. I have a black Labrador.
Okay.
Now, part
All
of my
right.
brain damn near broke because I'm like, I know this heifer didn't just say that to me. But I was like, you know what?
Right.
Something deep down inside just said, let it go. She has it coming.
Right.
Fast forward to my mid-20s, sitting watching Wheel of Fortune with my mother because my mother decided she wanted to watch it.
We just watched that tonight, me and my grandmother.
I kid you not, this woman was on Wheel of Fortune. And I'm like, how did she get on here? Because I don't recall her being the brightest, but you know, maybe some things changed during the year.
Right.
Worst loss I have ever witnessed in my life on a game show. I'm not saying in history. I am saying what I personally witnessed because I've seen people take some L's on some shows.
Right.
I believe she ended in a negative. I didn't even think that was possible on Wheel of Fortune. I thought you just went bankrupt and just had zero.
Right.
And I was like, that was the ancestors going, you know what? We're going to get her together and we're going to get her together publicly. And the icing on the cake, the creme de la creme, she was beat by a woman of color. And I just thought to myself, where's that black Labrador now?
Right.
But our next topic, okay, I don't know if you heard about
like,
the
real
BB.
quick,
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. Just like there's generational wealth, there is such thing as generational hate. And people gotta know that. Like, oh, and the worst excuse I hear, and I hear it a lot, well, it was just the way I was raised.
I can't stand that.
I'm not.
Or that's
I'm not
just how
racist.
I am.
Right. I don't care. I don't care if you're 90, like, and you live through all this. Like, you know what you can say and what you can't say. And if you continue to teach the people, like, you're the scum of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
The way you look at us as the scum of the earth for being a skin color, you're the scum of the earth.
I agree, because I do not understand how people can give excuses to these elderly people who have lived through the progression. They were not just dropped off here like, well, that's how it was when they were younger. Yeah, but they lived from younger till now. They've seen the world change.
They've been around. Like, they see this. Like, they know the world is completely different now. And they just continue, oh, it's just the way I am. It's the way my daddy raised me.
Right, because even in my lifetime, yes, we have always used pronouns.
Right.
But it did not take me long to adjust to not assuming a person's pronouns. Because guess what? It didn't just happen overnight. Nothing in history just happens overnight. Right. Even war brews and simmers until it boils over. So it's like you go along with it. Right. I did not spend my childhood or my adolescence with the internet. I was a full-fledged adult by the time the internet was truly a thing. Right. But yet here I am using it like a pro. Like, it does not take much, but they like to. And then I really get tickled. Yeah, but I really get tickled when they go, that was such a sweet generation. I'll be so sad when they're gone. They all need to die right now. Every last one of them. They were not a sweet generation. These are the same mofos that was hanging people from trees, burning down and bombing houses, knocking over buses, and assaulting young children of color for trying to go to school while calling us lazy and stupid. That's not a gentle generation. And here's something I've been saying virtually all my life. They just realize they're getting close to having a knock on Jesus's door, and they want to make sure they can get through the pearly gates. That's all. They think that these last few little go round the sun
Right.
is gonna absolve them of everything.
They
Well, I guess.
they forget about the hate they was given when segregation was going around. Like when black kids was coming into white schools, they forget that they was part of that. They was the ones who was boycotting schools and throwing stuff at the black kids as they was walking in. Like they forget all of that. They're like, oh, like it was just the way it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to be a part of it. You really didn't. Because I know there was plenty of other people back then who wasn't racist and wasn't doing those things. So the fact that you continue to say this stuff that you're saying nowadays lets me know that back in those days you was doing the same exact thing. Because you refused to change in the right way. Like I hardly ever see people change in the wrong way, but I'm pretty sure there are some people who stepped out and been like, all right, you know what? These black folks been doing me wrong. Let me like they're going after my wife, all this, you know. Like, so but I'm just saying.
Well, let's get into our next topic. I don't know if you heard about the BBW cult that's on Facebook and TikTok.
No,
now, here's the thing. For a while, everyone kept telling me the name Angela, that Angela was the head of this cult.
Right.
Then it came out that it seems that Angela may be a victim herself, that her wife is forcing her to inflict pain and make people give her money and force them to cut themselves live on camera and tell them when to leave the house and when to come home. Now,
is this like a Trump cult?
I don't know. But because the person who sent me the previous videos, I think you missed that episode regarding the cult, contacted me again and was like, hey, here's the wife's name. She's on Facebook. So I went to go look, and this is what I found, y'all. This is what I found. Here we go. It's to them calling her Big Daddy for me.
Right. We are one and we are fighting.
Yeah, and I'm like, so you got a group of girls on TikTok and you got a group of girls on Facebook. I don't know about the other social media platforms. I am no Aunt Karen. I am no that guy Donish. And that's her. Like, no. And there are quite a few studs that I find very attractive, and I feel like they do the damn thing. There are actually two that are sisters that I went to high school with. They are chef's kiss. Like, I think that they are the blueprint for a stud, fashion-wise, appearance-wise, but that right there wasn't it. Because, and this is why I say I think there's a group on Facebook and a group on TikTok, because in a lot of those comments, there were women saying, oh, I'm not on TikTok. Do I have to create an account? How do I get on TikTok? Like, they are really, like, she put up a post, and the most messed up part about it is the post between those that I got screen grabs of was her quoting scripture.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh yeah. And then they're taking screenshots of people that they're supposed to, and the person putting up the screenshots of who they're supposed to mass report is not Big Daddy and is not Angela. So I don't know who this third person is that's involved in the shenanigans and the hooliganism. But I'm like, what are y'all? I'm sorry. You're not calling me, giving me orders. You're not putting up something on Facebook that's not a call to action to save children or social justice or something like that. Now, have there been times where somebody's like, oh, this happened like not far from me? There was a child that was injured at their daycare because the daycare teacher was legitimately abusive towards this child. And I believe it was the aunt put out a call to action online. Did I participate in that? Yes, because that's keeping a child safe. I'm not jumping in the middle of because you can't take some criticism. Because you got busted out for taking people's whole checks. And my BBW queens. Now, y'all know I love y'all. You know I'm very, very envious of y'all and your curvy curves. We done had this conversation a many times, okay? That I love me some BBWs. What the hell is going on that y'all sitting here calling somebody your God, praying to them, giving them money, everything else? And how are y'all sitting back and defending this couple? Because I was made aware that a content creator who was bringing light to the fact that y'all are trapped in a cult, you're trapped in a closet with R. Kelly's victims. Y'all had the nerve to tell a man that you would groom his daughter, and then went on to be so vulgar to say that you know he wants you, and would his daughter be watching while y'all had relations? Let me explain something to you. And I know who this creator is, and I know he's handling business and following the proper channels and handling it with grace. I'm not that fucking graceful. I've had to deal with my own issues with mofos online, and I've tried my best to be as graceful as I could at the time. But say something like that about a minor in my family?
It's a problem.
Baby. Google Jimmy Hoffa, because you're going to be the second one.
Like, I just don't understand it. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't. What is going on with? There's got to be something in the water with people, because it seems like everybody now has to be part of a cult. Like, you got to be part of something, or you can't be free-minded at all. Like, you have to be part of this cult, that cult, either Trump supporter, Biden supporter. Like, you got to be part of something. Like, you can't just be free. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like,
and you know, you make a good point, because as soon as you said that, I started thinking about stuff. And it's not just a cult. It's excuse me. I have watched
they look at
people.
Hold on. They're looking at these people as gods. Like, they are. Like, I seen videos of them praying to Trump. Like, legit praying to Trump. Like, he is a god. I'm like, I don't care who you are, unless you are the Almighty himself, and you come down here and look at me in my eye, I am not praying to you like a human being, unless you legit prove to me that you are God. Like, this dude was just a celebrity who just so happened to have 4 years in the presidency, and you pray to him. This shit's crazy.
It is crazy, but
But go
I've
ahead.
noticed that even with certain groups that have formed online. People are losing their mind to get close to the group or to get into the group. Like they're turning certain groups that are doing positive things.
Right.
Let me preface this, that are doing positive things. But there are people who are slowly turning these groups into cults because they're willing to take down other people. They're willing to dox people. They're willing to lie, steal, cheat, do whatever to get into that inner circle of the group. And I'm like, since when did an internet group become that important? When did it
Right.
become the center of your universe? And this cult-like mentality to fight for people and just follow them no matter what comes out of their mouth, no matter what they do, because they have a certain amount of followers. Because I've watched people who went from having incredible content, like great social activism or wonderful funny skits or educational stuff, and now all their content is me, or they're constantly arguing with somebody and clapping back at somebody every 5 seconds, and their followers are like, well, they're still educating us on what?
Right.
The only thing they've educated me on this week is their schedule for the week. I know they got an interview. I know they got a book deal. I know they get, like, that's it. And I'm talking about clear across all of the social media platforms at this point.
Yep. I see
Where
it on
it's like,
Twitter.
you used to be so cool. I used to learn stuff from you. I used to get a good laugh from you. And now either you constantly arguing with somebody and going back and forth, or, and I'm not saying don't update us as you progress. Not what I'm saying. Not
Right.
what I'm saying.
We want to see you shine. Like we want to watch you shine. But come on now. Like,
yeah, but when
stick
every
to-
day you're telling us, oh, I got another 100,000 followers. Yeah. And then it's 20 more videos on how many followers you got. Or y'all,
Right.
I went viral, and it's 20 more videos on you going viral. Excuse me. Or every other video is you reminding us that you wrote this book. Okay. You gonna tell us where to buy it from? Like it's I'm like, okay. And then the people are like, yes, king, yes, queen, yes, yeah. What are you yesing?
Right.
Because I'm like, didn't what you used to do get you the clout that you got now? So if you haven't replenished that bucket, eventually you're gonna be out of water, baby. Then what you gonna do?
Absolutely.
I can't. And I've watched friendships fall apart because this person wanted to have a higher ranking in a group than somebody else. This person tried to push this person out. This person telling rumors on this person's marriage to get closer to this person so that they can get into the inner circle. I done seen groups implode because the people in that started the group started getting too big of a head and started walking around acting like Trump. Like, you owe me. You can't go against me. You can't say this, that. And then all of this, oh, I'm going to take a trip. Y'all go ahead and send me some money. We are still in a panini, y'all. How are
Right.
you sending money to someone else that's not legitimately in need? Because I'll admit, have I sent money to some people since COVID? Yes. But these people, one was devastated by a hurricane and COVID. One had a very unexpected medical expense, which caused them to lose their job, but they could not forego the medical procedure. So I helped that how I could. I don't have a problem doing that. But ain't no damn way in hell I'm about to finance your new car, your new decor in your home, and hell no, not your vacation. The only vacation I will be sponsoring will be my own. I love my children dearly. And I ain't gonna sponsor a vacation for their asses either.
I legit seen a video the other day. It said they was talking about the people was calling about picking up their car, repoing their car, and they was asking for the money for it. They was like, help me pay my car note so my car doesn't get repoed. I was like, so what are you doing with this car? If you're not going to work, like if you're just trying to be TikTok famous or something like that, no, get a job. Go get a legit job so you could pay your car note, so you could do all these things, so your car doesn't get repoed.
Yeah, because I know someone who legitimately sold their car because due to COVID, their company, instead of just sending people home to work at first, they decided to downsize.
Right.
Then wanted to call people back for less pay. Well, she had already taken another job. Fortunately from her, this company had been having people telecommute. Most of the employees did work from home. The only people who didn't were the people in the warehouse to fill orders, which is understandable. But customer service, say all of that work from home. And she's like me, can walk to the grocery store, can walk to different places. And she's like, at this point, I'm not driving this car anywhere. It's an expense I don't need right now.
Right.
Like, I've been out of work for 6 months. I'm catching up on X, Y, and Z. So she sold it, took that chunk of change, got caught up on what she could get caught up, and then her checks have gotten her back on. But I'm like, baby, if you ain't going nowhere, what you need the car for? And I'm not saying this to shame anyone, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've done that through the years. When raising my children and stuff got tight, that's why I always chose to live near bus stops, within walking distance of essentials and everything. Because if ish hit the fan, my quickest, biggest money maker was that car.
Right.
Because I always just bought cars outright. Like, go get a used car to save up, whatever, go get it. So that if anything happened, I wasn't just letting the car go after I've paid into the car and have nothing to show for it. No, people talk about having a nest egg. Keep your car up to date. You have a nest egg. You're going to get a minimum of $500 on the car. That's a minimum. That can pay a bill, sometimes 2 or 3, depending on what you need to pay off. Like, what I'm like, And just like people like, oh, you and your purses. Yep. And guess how many designer purses I have sold over the years that have helped me not slip into debt, not get into trouble. Because I had one company pull an okie doke on all of us. And we found out later that they closed their doors because they had too many minority women working there. So they really didn't shut down. They just moved locations and told all of us that were Black that they shut down. But we went into work on Friday. They handed us our checks and told us we no longer had a job. And the economy was not the greatest at that time. So it wasn't like, oh, I can go put out a couple of applications, and even if I got to flip burgers or mop the floor with a toothbrush, I can have a job. No, it took months.
Right.
And in those months with 4 small children, baby, Louis Vuitton pays some bills. That's why I tell people, don't turn down that nice little gift that somebody wants to give you. Don't stop yourself from pampering yourself every once in a while and splurge, because those are all nest eggs.
I'm not going to lie. As you know, I got a shoe collection. Right. I got a little bit of a
shoe store.
And my thing is, I've been down bad. Like, I got to the point where I was thinking about, I got some shoes that's definitely worth some money. Like, I'm talking about deep hundreds, like some thousands. And I was like, but I never forced myself. I was like, all right, I'm going to get through this. Like, I ate peanut butter and jelly for 2 weeks. I was like, I'm going to get myself. So I end up never actually having, but I know I've got that. Like, I know, like, if it ever came down to it, if I needed my rent money, which my rent's in between $800 to $1,000. I'm like, if I need that, I can sell a couple pair of shoes, and I'll be fine. But I was like, I just pray every day. I'm like, I hope nothing happens with my job. Like when I found out we was like the job I'm working for, that we was essential, I was like, I was mad at first, but then I was thinking, I was like, man, if we're considered essential, that means there's always going to be a job for me. Like, and they always going to be good workers. So I was like, I'm Gucci there.
Yeah, but
But
people have to stop looking at investments and nest eggs as simply savings accounts and stocks and bonds, because
right,
in other countries, there are people doing just what I just described. I didn't come up with this idea on my own.
right,
I've had a pen pal since I was 12 until a year ago. Unfortunately, she passed away, not due to COVID. She had other underlying conditions. Living in Europe. She told me about it because her mother taught her that.
right,
Starting at 16, just like my family did, she has certain jewelry she would hold on to that she would just wear sporadically. Certain, designer bags, designer shoes that, she really didn't wear outside. She kept in pristine condition because in the event anything happens, one, that's a commodity that's going to move quickly. You have to think of it as artwork, just like the wealthy will buy, sell, and trade artwork in a pinch. When you start hearing about Christie's auctions, that's because a wealthy person done ran into something. They got something that they need to pay, and they're not going to touch their savings. They're going to liquidate something they didn't like in the first place, just knew that it was high value, and here you go. And you're like, but it hung in your house for years. Yeah, because it was cheaper to store it here in my house than pay for somebody to store it for me. I didn't like this shit.
Can we be real? Buying artwork is definitely helping money laundering. That's all it does. That's all. Because
and
some
plus
of this art,
artwork, it's very objective in how they price it.
Right.
You don't even have to be a great artist. If so many people go, ooh, this is nice, they're like, oh, it's worth $1 million. But there's no process to, because you know how, like, when they price a car, there's like a checklist they go down. Even with shoes, there's a checklist they go down, like, okay, this is what makes this shoe worth this amount. If it's in this condition, this is the amount if it's in this condition. With art, it's all about who the appraiser, like, oh yeah, $2.5 million. Go ahead.
I'm not promoting anything. I'm not trying to give nobody any ideas or anything.
And it's mostly cash.
But if you just say, draw a picture of something, it doesn't have to be good. And if you're doing a little Dylan, give them that artwork with it, you're selling art. And that money's clean. There's no so I'm just saying, like,
because there was one dude that sold a blank actually he sold several blank canvases to people for $10,000 a pop. You want to know what the name of the collection was? Take the money and run. These people bought art sight unseen because he has such a buzz about himself. I've seen photographs of apples sell for, a nice chunk of change, and I'm like, what? And I mean, this wasn't even like an artistic take on it. It wasn't like there was some specialized lighting or they changed, no.
Right.
Like, I could have taken my phone into the kitchen and be like, Apple, click, and then put it up. I'm like, you.
That's what I'm saying. It's all it is a way for rich people to launder their money.
Rich.
Like, oh, this this painting's worth $2 million. Let me just go ahead and buy it. So it's always going to be worth $2 million. And I just got that sitting there. My money's clean.
And then also, if you can convince your wealthy friends to buy from the same artist, all of you all's art will increase in value because the buzz around that artist will increase.
Yep.
And if you get an artist who decides to do things anonymously, for some reason, only in the art world, is hiding your identity going to make you even richer. But it's a mostly cash business.
Yep.
You got to either show up with cash or you got to hit that transfer.
Right. It's funny. It really is. Like, and no, I think people caught on to it, but here's the thing: they're not going to do anything about it because it's the 1% that's mainly doing it.
Oh yeah, there was. I don't know if it's still up on Netflix because this was pretty early into like lockdown that I was trying to get caught up on docuseries and documentaries that I wanted to see, and there was a woman who basically. She claimed she was innocent, but she scammed the art world for one of those anonymous artists. And you could tell through all of the interviews that they were working together. No jail time, slap on the wrist. She has a whole nother art gallery that she's appraising for now in New York. Right. What? But I get, let's move on to our final topic. The whole situation at Howard University. Ooh, I can't talk all of a sudden. Once again, this is a two-parter. And I'm going to actually cut my camera because I've seen parts of this and I don't want my face to give it away for people watching because I want you to take in everything that's being said. So I'm going to cut my camera and turn on this video so y'all can focus on what's being said.
I made a video yesterday, but since this video did not get out there, we're speaking on it again until it goes fucking viral. It's crazy how it's slowly going towards the news outlets, and it's barely all over TikTok and Instagram. And my brothers and sisters who are activists have not heard of this situation, so I want you guys to listen real clearly right now. Howard, Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, and Morris Brown are all facing a housing crisis. Rooms are dirty, there's mold in the rooms, there's roaches in the rooms and in the cafeteria. On top of that, there is limited housing. So for the students who live in the area, they're forced to either drop out or commute. And for those who don't live in the area, they are forced to be homeless and sleep in their cars. For the tuition they pay thousands of dollars for, this ain't right. This is a warning. Here are some pictures of mold. And not only is it on the walls, but it's on the air ventilation, causing this to be a major health hazard. This can make students extremely sick. I just really want y'all to see this. So in response, students are camping at the schools to protest against the housing crisis. If you support the Black community like you say you do, you should have no problem spreading this all over your social media platforms. Here are pictures and more proof to what's going on at Howard University. This is real, whether you want to believe it or not. And just for a clearer picture, and it just gets worse. This makes no absolute sense. That right there that you're looking at, that's right.
Much has changed. We understand that it is not a normal college experience to be living with mold and having respiratory issues and safety hazards in our living spaces.
Stories with videos like this one, just an example of what students have been living in at Howard University.
There was a cracked pipe that had been there since my mom went to school here and living in these dorms.
And others living with rats, roaches, mushrooms, and mold.
We've been coughing, like itchy eyes, just feeling really sick and like drained and exhausted, but really it's because the mold is in our rooms.
Students tell us workers have come in to clean and sanitize their rooms, but with little improvement.
I noticed that the mold grew back again this morning, and also they never cleaned out the mold in the AC. So we're still breathing in that mold, and I can't even live in there anymore.
We reached out to Howard University to ask for an interview and were given copies of the emails sent out to students mentioning efforts to go door to door and address maintenance issues. The Board of Trustees also said in a statement, quote, "Simply put, we hear you and we continue to welcome your viewpoints on all matters pertaining to Howard." But students disagree.
But most of the response has been very hostile. I was met with police. I was met with public affairs. I was called to the office. Like, almost called to the principal's office type, and they told me that I was making the value of a Howard degree go down. I'm in debt to be here, and we're living with, I want to say, like, dilapidated dorms. So we're living in a building that is not safe.
Despite threats of expulsion and suspension, students say they'll do whatever it takes to address what they say is decades of
This is giving me very circa 1950s and 1960s. When we were forced to integrate because our schools were not properly funded, even though we know how public schools are funded. And before anybody goes, well, Trump cared about the HBCUs. Now that Biden's in office, they're not getting money. Okay. If I say, yeah, I'm giving $4 million every year to this section of schools, did anybody take the time to see how many schools that money has to be broken down to? It basically turns into pennies in a bucket. Our schools are not being properly funded. Therefore, they cannot be properly taken care of. And am I excusing the staff at these schools for treating the students that way and not taking proper precautions? Oh, no. But there's always a coon in a bunch. And just don't think just because they made it to a certain tenure or a certain stature at a HBCU that they are not a part of the Coontastic Coalition, because yes, they will be. But at this point, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, where are you? You were a proud Howard alumni on the campaign trail. Where are you right now? You have the second highest office in the world. Where are you at? Because I'm sorry.
I haven't even heard her speak on the matter.
She's very, very, very slow to speak on anything that actually matters. And when people were getting on me for originally criticizing her, yes. Am I proud that there's a Black woman at that position? Yes. Would I have preferred for it to be a different Black woman? Yes. I've never hidden that. But my critiques on her still stand. When it comes to us and when it comes to issues that truly matter, she bites her tongue, and then it comes out years later that, oh, behind the scenes, she did this secretly. Well, when you do stuff secretly, you can't do it as properly or expeditiously as you could publicly. And sometimes, as humble as you may be, you got to puff up your chest and do it publicly.
Right. Or there won't be any changes. Like my biggest thing, I always said this, I got criticized for saying it. I said she was only Black before the election. Like that's when she was using that Black card for everything. Wearing Tim, wearing doing.
Oh, she was in the Tims and the Chucks.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, and then after that, I'm sitting there like you'd see, like this is a school you graduated from. Like
and
you
she's
graduated
back to exclusively hanging out with white people. She's back to like it was so disappointing for me.
Everybody
as a Black
wants
woman
to be Black when it helps.
Oh yeah. Everybody wants to be Black till it's time to be Black. But it was disheartening and disappointing to me as a Black woman watching the inauguration and watching who she invited.
Right.
I'm like, wow. The sense of pride I had watching Michelle Obama at inaugurations was depleted watching Kamala Harris at an inauguration. Because Michelle Obama was like, oh, I'm blackity black. Where my AKA sisters at? Where my mama? Where my cousin? Like, come on, we gonna celebrate together. And I'm sitting here looking like, what in the Alabaster Animaniacs is going on here? All of the only people, like you have Indian family and you have Black family. Yes, you married a white man. And yes, you can create bonds. I have a couple of sister-in-laws that happen to be white. If I made it to that pinnacle, would I want all of my siblings and their wives and their children there? Yes. But here's the difference. All of my siblings and their wives, because you can't help who you create a bond with. But if you've only bonded with the white folks whose family you married into, baby, what's going on? And I'm not saying everybody's family is perfect. And no, you're not going to get along with everybody, because there are people in your family you should definitively cut off for abusive, toxic, narcissistic behavior. But you going to tell me your whole family you done disowned?
Right.
After you done told us how strong your mama was and how you learned from your mom and her side of the family, X, Y, and Z, where were they during the inauguration? And don't tell me shit about COVID, because you had all of them yeast yeti yardigans sitting right up there with you.
Right.
You ain't got a big mama you could have invited.
Right. That's just like old girl from ESPN, ashamed of her own skin. Like it's sad. Like there's so many of them that's ashamed of their black heritage, but will use it when they need something, when they could get them something. Like you know, if she wanted to do Sports Center by herself, well, you know how uplifting it would be to see just a black woman running Sports Center? It would be great for television, great for your network. Oh, cool. But you know what? I don't like black people for real. Like, they're just a bunch of crybabies to me. I'm like,
and it's like, if you are multiracial, if you are multiracial, it is okay to identify with all sides of you, because all sides of you make who you are. But to sit there and go, well, I identify as white. Girl, society sees you as black.
Right. I'm like, if a race war started right now, like,
they ain't taking you.
Right. They're not going to sit there and be like, oh, she's one of us. Like, remember what she said. No, they're just going to see that black skin, that tint you got to you, and guess what?
They're going to see the black skin, and they're going to see the black features.
Right.
Because before I got banned off TikTok, there was a gentleman who people were not believing that he was biracial. One parent is black, one parent is white. Right. All these white folks in his comment section arguing with him, no, you're white, blah, 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 blah. Myself and other black folks, because I've noticed white people look at skin tone. Everyone else looks at features, because we understand passe blanche. We understand you can pass as white, because a bunch of our ancestors did that to keep us safe and to make sure that we would be alive to this day. Because if they didn't, think of all the generations that would not be walking around. And for those of y'all that don't understand, look up and watch the movie Queenie. But I digress. And Imitation of Life. But I'm like, this is a biracial man. Like, this is a black man. I could tell by his features. And I also could tell by certain things that he said. And no, I'm not saying there's a such thing as speaking black, but there are certain things that black people can say, even without words. We can communicate with each other by looking at each other or just going, And there are certain phrases we all inherently know. You may have gone 50 years of your life and never heard the phrase, but if you get into a certain situation, that phrase will come out your mouth. Am I lying?
Right.
And I'm listening to him and I'm like, yep, the ancestors done sprinkled their seasoning on him. He's Negro. But all these white people, you're just doing this for clout. Stop blackfishing. And I'm like, he ain't blackfishing, boo-boo. You looking at complexion, and you're looking at his complexion as if he's having a tan. But we're going to end things on a little bit of a lighter note. Someone sent this to me, and I have not watched it before. They requested that I did not watch it before, but they said it would give us a chuckle. So I don't know if we're getting punked right now or if we're really going to laugh afterwards. So don't come out the bag on me if this go left, because I don't know. I don't know. When people ask me to blind react, I legitimately do. I don't watch none of it. So
right.
Here we go.
Truth be told, I never actually wanted to come here. Even though scientists try and convince me that I'm the one that made it to the egg first, so I actually wanted to live, that's a lie. Point of correction. I went to the egg to look at it, not touch it, just to look at it because I was curious. I wanted to see what was happening and then just swim the other way. But I feel like in the spur of the moment, one of the other guys pushed me. Even though we didn't have hands back then, we were all so young. But I feel like somebody pushed me, and before you knew it, meiosis, mitosis, morning sickness, 9 months later, here I am, the scapegoat. I was literally pushed out of my comfort zone to come out here and endure all of this. None of the other ones actually wanted to be here now. That's how I ended up out here.
This is one of those times I wish I would not have agreed to keep somebody anonymous because I really want to shout them out right now. Like, what did you just do to us? I mean, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I felt that with my whole spirit, but it was still funny. Like, all of us are what we're not the victors. We did not win the race. We are the scapegoats. They was like, nah, motherfucker, you go. Like, we heard about outside. You go. We about to go get regenerated. We gonna chill in here for a couple of millennia. Like, no.
Hey, let's just look at it. Let's all go up here and look at it. And as soon as we got there, they just all pushed you at once.
Like, I promise you, I feel that in my soul.
Yeah.
But the person who sent me this, you getting a phone call when I'm done with it. Now I see why you were like, don't watch this before you go on. Because there's no way I could have introduced that with a straight face. There's no way. I'd have been like,
Right.
Oh my God.
There's a video I seen earlier. My boy posted it on Twitter, and I figured, we talked about a lot of adversity, bad things that's going on. I figured we'd talk about one good thing. So there's a school, I can't remember, I gotta look it up, I gotta get a little more information on it. But there was a majority Black school, and over a month time, 23 Black students was arrested for fighting. Like, I mean, just literally just going in there, starting fights, and they would end up arresting them. Well, a group of Black dads get together, and now they go in there into the school and greet everybody. Because a lot of Black kids don't have their dads and stuff, so they're and ever since they started this program, I think they said about 2 months ago or something like that, there's been no arrests, no fights, nothing. And I was like, that is what being a man is about, stepping up.
You know what? That just made my heart melt. But you know what? That's Black men for you. That I know a lot of people try to shit on Black men, and every group has bad apples, just like every company has bad employees.
Right.
But the overwhelming amount of Black men that I have encountered in my life, whether I've known them or not known them, that's how Black men are. Black men are protectors. I have been out and about, and I've had Black men come up to me and point out that somebody was following me, or ask me if I was okay because they noticed something off in a situation. Actually today, 2 friends of mine and I, and we have to get together because we may have to, you and DMAC are probably going to have to handle the viewing party. Because the event, I didn't realize, starts at 6 p.m.
Ooh.
I thought it started at 8.
Right.
And my friend said, oh no, they recently changed the times. So this whole time I've had it in my calendar for 8, which is a good thing I went back and checked, because paying for a table, I'm getting every hour of that table, okay?
Right. Right.
But we had some black men reach out to the three of us today. Y'all good? Y'all still going to the event? Okay. Meet us at such and such, park here. If you take a lift, let me know. Tell them to drop you off here. I'll walk you in. When you're done, we're gonna walk you out. I'll wait with you if you're gonna have like these are black men, no interest, no. So y'all can save it for they just doing that to get points to get in your pants. No. I've had black men literally sit on the phone with me because I've been locked out of my house by accident. Literally drive to my house because I didn't feel well. Right. Just to make sure that I'm cool, just to run some errands for me.
Like,
because when I had to quarantine for COVID, a guy that I hadn't talked to since I was in high school, we didn't even go to the same high school, reached out to me on Facebook and was like, do you need anything? You want me to go grocery shopping for you? You need do I need to drop off some bill payments for you? Do whatever.
Right.
Black men. Because the ones that I'm terrified are the white men that like to eat you, beat you, and leave you in the forest for dead. And if you think I'm lying, Google the FBI profile for a serial killer. He ain't black.
I do that constantly because I know that feeling where you just need somebody to reach out to you. Like you just want to be checked in on. Like you need somebody. So I do it. Like I'll call like a friend of mine. I talked to
we know you do, because when I got doxxed, you was the first one in my inbox. Send me the video. What happened?
Right.
We need to get a patrol going. What was going on? I'm like, calm down. Hold on. Let me find the video. I know I saved it, but give me a minute.
Right. I'm very protective. Like everybody knows I'm an asshole too. So I'm going to joke. I'm going to joke on you. I'm going to roast you. I'm going to hurt your feelings. But at the same time, or like when it comes down to it, can nobody else talk about you? Can nobody else, like I'm going to protect you. I'm going to make sure you good. Like it's always been the type of person I am. It's always been the type of people that I was raised, like that raised me. Like my uncle who just passed away a few months ago, like very protective. Like he had his demons, but when I was going through my situation back in the day, like first one called me up. First one to pick me up from the hospital. First one, he seen me walking one day, picks me up. He was like, yo, take a ride with me. 2 hours we rode around in the car just talking. I'm like, that's like, it's the people like you, that's lessons people need to be learning. Like not this hate stuff. Like they need to learn like to protect one another. Like I do it not just for my black friends, but for my white friends, for my Asian friends, for my Mexican friends, for my gay friends, like anybody from the community. I do that for everybody. I need to know you're good. Because when I was at my lowest point, that's all I needed. That's all I wanted. And my uncle stepped up. Both of my uncles, actually. I'm not even going to leave one of them out because he was right there too.
Yeah, because I tell people all the time, and some people are very confused about how and why I handle certain situations. I don't care how much you want to dog me online. I was there for you at some point.
Right.
And you will need me again. And I'm not saying this in a conceited way. I will still be here for you. And I don't care how much you drag me. I don't care how much of my personal information you put out there. I made a promise to myself many years ago, before I was even an adult. I know what it's like to feel like you're the only one going through something and to feel completely alone. And I promised myself that if I knew of anyone, they would not be alone while I still have breath in my body. I don't give a damn if I'm in the ICU. I might not be able to get on FaceTime with you, but you're going to get a text from me. Like, you good, boo? You good? Do I need to send somebody over there? Because I can't make it at this point in time. And there are people who get confused, like, wait a minute, you still help this person. They dragged you, they said this, they said that. Yeah, but as they always say, hurt people hurt people. And whatever is hurting you, when you're done hurting, or when you're ready to get help to work through your hurt, know that there's at least one person sitting, waiting, and ready to help you get through it.
Right.
Oh, and before I forget, because I did bring it up yesterday, and I did start this yesterday on yesterday's show, and this has been like super therapeutic. Hey y'all, this is how far we've gotten in a day. Wait a minute, that looks like underwear with me pulling it like that.
I was honestly about to say that's those BBW underwear right there.
But this is, and you can't, after I get a little bit more, you can tell the pattern change up here, but that's as far as I got. I'm not as fast as I used to be because it has been a few years since I've done this. So yeah, but we are making progress, and I will keep you all updated on the progress. And don't forget to join us tomorrow for our regular conversations with Taz. And feel free to inbox any of us with any videos you want us to discuss or any topics you want us to discuss. I will do my best to get as much information, background information, and context to make sure everybody's on the same page so we can properly talk about it. But final thoughts, Monty?
Spread love. That's all I gotta say.
I think that's the best way to end the show. As always, each one reach one, each one teach one. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.